In this video, I'll be breaking down question 43 of the USMLE's 2021 version of the free 120 sample questions for Step 1, which is linked in the video description down below. Now, if you haven't taken a look at this question yet, I encourage you to pause the video, try working through the question on your own, then come back here and check out the breakdown. Okay, so let's take a look at the question. And as always, we'll start at the end, figure out what they're asking, then we'll go back to the passage and get our key information. So here they're asking, in addition to the teres minor, inflammation of which of the following tendons is most likely in this patient? So thinking about our styles of question on step 1, mechanism versus diagnosis versus association, I could see someone saying this is an association question where we have to know what each of these muscles does and figure out based on whatever deficit they give us, what that is. But maybe if we don't know that detail, we could use our mechanistic thinking to get to an answer here. So let's see what we've got. We've got a 45-year-old person coming in, so shoulder pain, right side, no obvious deformity, no tenderness, and then they have pain when they try to externally rotate against resistance. So we've got a problem with external rotation. What tendon could be involved here? And I'm seeing some various muscles in the shoulder region. So maybe I don't know all the actions that each one of these muscles does. So I'm going to use what I do at least know, which is where these are located. So infraspinatus, that's way in the back, in the posterior part of the scapula, beneath that spinous process. So I'm just going to say posterior scapula and leave it at that. And then we've got pectoralis, so that's going to be our anterior chest wall. Subscapularis, that's going to be on the posterior part of the chest wall between the scapula and the thoracic wall. So we'll just say anterior scapula. And then supraspinatus, that's going to be our superior scapula. And we've got our trapezius, which sits kind of on top of that supraspinatus, kind of in that same area from what I remember. So superior scapula. Okay, so if I don't know what each of these muscles does, what could I use from at least knowing where they are to rule things out? Well, I know that muscles shorten, right? And so if we're going to have a problem with external rotation, it's probably going to be something in the back, not something in the front. So pectoralis, I think if that shortened, it would, if anything, cause internal rotation. I don't even know if it does that, but it's just in the wrong spot to cause external rotation. D and E, so supraspinatus, trapezius, both of those lie on the top, and so if they're kind of laid on right next to each other up on top, I imagine those are going to have more or less the same action, which is going to be abduction. And so I'm going to get rid of both of those. Well, maybe I won't get rid of them, but I'll at least put a down arrow next to them because I can't see how two muscles that are basically right on top of one another, how one of those could be right and one of them could be wrong. So I'm going to get rid of both of those. And so that leaves us with infraspinatus and subscapularis. Now, both of these are on the posterior aspect of the chest wall, but one of them is more posterior, one of them is a little more anterior. So if I had to guess between these two, which is most likely to externally rotate, I would probably guess it's going to be the muscle that's most posterior, that when it shortens is going to pull that shoulder into external rotation, and that would be the infraspinatus. Subscapularis, being on the anterior side, maybe it doesn't, maybe it could do it, but if I had to pick between the two, I would go with A, and that's the correct answer on this one. Now, subscapularis being on that anterior aspect of the scapula, that would actually cause internal rotation. That's what that one does. And so did I need to know that to answer this question? Not necessarily. I didn't need to know the specific motions of any of these, just being able to rule to at least, it certainly helps if you know all these. I'm not saying don't study that, but if you forget that stuff on test A, if you're stressed, you skipped lunch, something like that, and you hit a question like this and you feel stuck, we don't have to just guess between 1 and 5 answers. We've got some ways to use at least our location anatomy to narrow down our answer choices and get to a plausible answer. So that's how I would approach a question like this on test A if I were stuck. I hope this was helpful. If you like this breakdown, check out some of the other breakdowns in this series. And as always, I hope this helps you out on test day.